Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to go up to Gothenburg here in Sweden, a very acclaimed beer city of course, and we're going to visit one of the most acclaimed breweries at the moment, so we have a very cool beer today. This one is the top rated IPA that has come out of Sweden so far. So we're going to go to Stigbergets Bryggeri today and we're having a taste of the acclaimed GBG Beer Week 2016. So this one should be an absolute beast of a beer. So this one, as I mentioned to you in review number 899, is a tweaked version of OO Brewing's Narangi. This one comes in at 6.5%, it's rated 100 overall on Rate Beer and 100 within the style, so it should be a really good beer. It's based on the New England style of IPAs, actually the same as Narangi was. Narangi of course was a really nice beer, and I'm interested to see how this one differs from that. I'm actually filming this review and the Narangi one only an hour or so apart, so I can do a bit of a comparison in this one to Narangi. And thank you of course to my friend Andreas from Ölresan for pointing out the importance of this beer to me. I probably wouldn't have known that this was such a highly rated beer otherwise, so a big thank you to him for pointing that out. Make sure you check out the link to his website in the video description below. He's got a really nice site, and if you want a Swedish perspective on the Swedish beer scene, then of course you should have a read at his things. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Stigbergets before. I'm sure I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel uses a geography-based tagging system, of course, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries, the sake reviews, the whiskey reviews, and all the other things that are there. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support of the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri. So as I mentioned to you, Stigbergets Bryggeri are based in Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair actually own two bars that share the one kitchen. This is Bar Kino and Hagebjörn's Cafe, which are located on Linnegatan in the city, and both of these opened in 2007. So originally the idea with the brewery was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, and the popularity of these beers led to them kegging and selling the beer to other pubs, and eventually to actually bottling their beers, which started in November 2014. So the original beers were mainly English and German styles, but more recently they've been expanding into the more hoppy American styles of beers, along with things like Imperial Stout, so really more focusing on these American kind of new world beer styles recently. But they started out with a 1,000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, but they upgraded to a 2,000 litre JTM system from Denmark back in December 2015, and apparently they want to double this capacity whenever they can afford to. So Niels and Richard are actually joined at the brewery by two brewers, one of whom of course is Ole Andersson from OO Brewing, and the other three people there also deal with things like logistics, packaging and various other odd jobs around the brewery. So like I said, these guys are a brewery that are very highly rated just now. They've got big ties of course to OO Brewing as well, and they're producing some really nice beers. So if you get the chance to try either some Stigbergets beers or some OO Brewing beers, those are two of the beers within Gothenburg, or two of the breweries within Gothenburg that you really do want to check out. They're getting a lot of plaudits just now, and quite rightly in my experience. So yeah, make sure you check them out. But anyway, that's enough about the breweries just now. You can check out the link to the brewery website in the description below if you want to learn more. I should point out that Stigbergets maybe have around 20 or so different beers that they do, and OO Brewing I think are producing something like 10 at the moment. But like I say, this one is a really highly acclaimed beer. So just to give you the specs of this beer, this one is a 6.5% IPA. Like I said to you, it's based on the New England IPAs. This one is hopped with Nelson Sauvin, Mosaic and Citra. The Narangi of course had Columbus in it, so we'll see some difference there. The malt base is extra pale ale, torrefied oats and torrefied wheat, and like I say, this beer was a tweaked version of the Narangi from OO Brewing. Narangi of course is a little bit heavier in alcohol than this one as well. So we'll open this guy up and see how we get on. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork there. So this beer, of course, if I'm not mistaken, was brewed for the Gothenburg Beer and Whiskey Festival, or one of the big festivals that happens up there. So it will actually be brewed by another brewery next year. So GBG Beer Week 2017 will be done by a different brewery. So should be quite interesting to see how that turns out. There you can see the typical Stigbergets bottle cap on this one, which is really nice. This one's nicely presented, and this is the kind of typical label style that you'll see from Stigbergets Bryggeri. So without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really looking forward to this because I've heard so many good things about this beer. So, as you can see, a really nice smoky opening on this one, and I tell you something, see, as soon as you open this beer up, you can smell that little bit of Nelson Sauvin. There's that distinct kind of green grapey character coming out of this one. It smells absolutely lovely. Really, you can really just pick that up right away. So, as was the case with Narangi, of course, this one is pouring this really bright yellow golden colour. You know, this could be pineapple juice or tropical fruit juice or something like that. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it's not transparent at all. There is a little bit of transparency maybe. If I just put my fingers like this, I can see a shadow through it, but otherwise it is completely opaque. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. The head, of course, has just faded away to be a very thin foamy layer, but I think it's fair to say that it was maybe about a quarter finger of a frothy whitehead, and if we kind of sugar the beer up a little bit, we start to get more of it back, but I think it's fair to say it was a perfect white head that came out on this beer. So when I'm sugaring the beer up, of course, like I say, I can smell this kind of green, grapey character that you expect of the Nelson Sauvin, but let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one and see how we get on. Oh yeah, no, you really can. It really is. The aroma on this one is just dominated by the Nelson Sauvin. It's really nicely done. You can pick up a little bit of the Citra character coming out of this one as well. Yeah, but definitely that green grape, the Nelson Sauvin in this one is really apparent. There's a bit of maybe not quite grapefruit underneath, but you're also getting some of the notes from the Citra as well. You know, the gooseberries, maybe a little bit of the kind of lychees and things. Maybe, I think there's mangoes coming out of this as well. You can smell a little bit of the juicy character from the mango, but definitely some sort of gooseberry, maybe lychees as well. There's definitely those lighter kind of tropical fruit notes that you would expect from the Citra in this one. But it smells really nice. Just pay attention to the aroma of this one. It's a really juicy, fruity aroma. Like I say, this one is leaning really towards the Nelson Sauvin for me. It's really those green grapey characters that are coming out, and of course the lighter notes from the Citra. There is a little bit of a kind of floral and grassy character coming out from the hops of this beer as well, and you can of course smell a little bit of the malt base. It's quite bready. There's a big bready character. You know, you can get that almost white bready character. There's a little bit of pale ale malt, kind of pale malt aroma in this one as well, and maybe just a little bit of an almost biscuity sweetness. But overall, it smells really nice. You know, really cracking smelling beer this. So as I say, since this is such a rare beer, just take a little bit of time and savour that aroma before you actually try it for yourself. So we're going to have a go at this beer now. So this one is the GBG Beer Week 2016 from Stigbergets Bryggeri up in Gothenburg here in Sweden, a tweaked version of the Narangi from OO Brewing. Let's get stuck into this beer. Skål! Oh yeah, that is really quite nice. It really is good. This one, in comparison to the Narangi, I think it's a little bit less bitter. It seems to me to lean a little bit more towards the juicy side of things than the Narangi did. And of course, as you were picking up with the aroma, the Nelson Sauvin is coming out quite nicely in this beer. But there is a good bit of bitterness once your mouth fully adjusted. But for me, it is coming across just a little bit more bitter than the Narangi was. But the flavour is really quite different actually. So in the middle of the palate is the same. You've got this nice kind of bready malt base in there. You can really feel that. There's a bit of a pale malt character in there. You can feel a little bit of the kind of oaty and sort of grainy thing going on in this beer. You can feel that a little bit more in the palate on this one. You can feel it right in the middle there. There's maybe a little bit of a very slightly kind of biscuity sweetness in the middle of the palate, but really the malt base in this one again is fairly simple. It really is just kind of big and bready, but there is a little bit of a sort of grainy character coming out of this one for me. The hops are interesting as well. So I'm getting a little bit of earthiness in the back corner of my palate there. That, of course, is one of the traits of the Mosaic hop. As you come further forward, there's a little bit more. The floral aromaticity in this one has a little bit more darkness to it than the Narangi did. You can feel that. There's maybe a little bit of a resinous character to this one that wasn't so much coming out in the other beer. You can really just taste a little bit of the darker character in there as you come further forward. The earthiness starts to come out a little bit more as you move into the aftertaste, and that floral aromaticity, like I said, is just that little bit darker. Around the front curve of the tongue though, you have the same grassiness that was in the other beer as well, the Narangi. And it's really interesting actually to compare these when they are two such close recipes and they're just a little bit tweaked. But yeah, this is really nice. Once again, pay attention to the little oily bubble that comes out behind the front curve of your tongue there. There's a really juicy, fruity character coming out of there, and that's where a lot of the complexity in this beer is coming out. As the flavour progresses for me, the earthiness stays there, but the floral aromaticity and a little bit of the resinous character in this one starts to come out a bit more. The kind of grassiness around the front curve of the tongue is still there, but there's a little oily bubble, like I say, and that's where a lot of the fruitiness is coming out. So let's just pay attention to that in the next little bit. Yeah, Nelson Sauvin in this one again, you can really feel that nice kind of green grapey character to this one, just underpinning the beer. The green grape character, it comes in and you can just feel it underpinning everything else, and then as you move into the aftertaste you can just feel that flavour sort of lingering there, and it's really nicely done. There's a little bit of grapefruit in there, you can feel that darker character from the grapefruit, and of course that will be coming, I think, mainly from the a little bit from the Citra, but also from the other hop as well. Yeah, you do get, it's, yeah, definitely from the Mosaic as well, because you can just taste that little bit of difference in there. The Citra, of course, later on you start to get these sort of lighter, juicy tropical fruits coming out of this one. So you've got a little bit of a kind of gooseberry note, as I was saying, a little bit maybe of the kind of lychee thing, but you can pick up a little bit of a stronger mango in this beer for me. You can pick up that there. But what makes it a bit different, this beer in comparison to the Narangi, what makes it a bit different for me, there's a bit of a stronger floral character to it, I would say, maybe a little bit of resin in there. And there's also that kind of green grapey character that comes out from the Nelson Sauvin. The Columbus that was in the other one just kind of suppressed, it didn't have so much of the resinous character that this beer seems to have. So that's quite an interesting point to make about it, but this, make no mistake, is a really, really nice beer as well. I can see why this one maybe has just that extra point on the other one, and it probably is because of the slightly more bitter character that this one has in comparison to the Narangi. But again, it's a really damn good beer, so if you get the chance to try this, buy it up. I can see why it's such a highly rated IPA, and you know, when you've got Ollie Anderson at that brewery brewing these beers, you know, he's a very talented brewer, quite obviously, and these New England style IPAs are a style that really are it really is taking off just now. So if you get the chance to try either this one or the Narangi, I'd highly recommend both brewed by a very, very talented brewer, obviously, but this is the last time that you're actually going to get this beer available in bottle. But damn good beer, or they say that at the moment, but I would reckon that if it's that popular, they may well do it again. You just need to wait and see. But overall, again, a very, very solid beer. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, and it is up there as well with some of the best IPAs I've reviewed on the channel. Narangi, of course, was one. You know, Zombie Dust was another. There was Amor Batch 1000, there was the Ninja vs Unicorn from Pipeworks. Those were all really, really good beers, and this one certainly kind of hits up at that note as well, so I can see why this is so highly rated. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say this one is mid-bodied. To me, this feels a little bit lighter than Narangi, but perhaps, as I said in the video review for that one, these beers feel a little bit heavier than the West Coast IPAs that I've had before, and maybe it's just because of the presence of the bready malt in this one. That could be a stylistic difference, but I've not tasted enough of the East Coast IPAs to know that yet, so I'm kind of guessing when I say that on this review. But you've got a little bit of crispness to this one. Carbonation does have a little bit of an attack to it, but it's slightly oily, this one as well, but you've got a smooth malt base from the bready character, of course. There's a good bitterness to the hops. This one's slightly more bitter than the Narangi, as I said, but there's a nice fruity juiciness to this one. As I say, you've got that darker character from the grapefruit, and then you've got that nice Nelson Sauvin that just sets this one apart a little bit from that Narangi beer. But once again, a really, really top class beer, and you know, it says a lot for the Swedish beer industry that they can produce beers of this quality. So I really look forward to seeing what else Stigbergets and OO Brewing can produce in the future, because I've had 2 really good beers over the last 2 reviews that I've done from these guys. So if you get the chance, I'd highly recommend that you check out these beers. A very talented brewer is brewing these things, and this one is highly acclaimed, as is the Narangi, so make sure you check them out. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to review this beer for you. Thank you once again for all your support over the 900 reviews or so that I've done now. It's been really cool to do this one as a kind of comparison to Narangi, but both beers are really excellent beers. Some of the best I've tried from Sweden, of course, so far. But thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comment section below. Let me know what other beers you'd like me to try from Stigbergets. I do have another one that I will review in the next few videos, so I hope you enjoy that as well. But until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you very soon. The Stigbergets Bryggeri GBG Beer Week 2016, the best rated IPA from Sweden that has emerged so far. So we'll see what comes over the next while. Slange just now, and I will catch you very soon. Skål!